Hi, so today we're going to be going over the installation of the J Tech Photonics laser on the Onefinity Elite Series machines. It's going to be the 24-watt Quad Pro laser that we're going to demonstrate today, but most of the lasers that we sell will be very similar in the instructions. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to go over the contents of the box. In this case, we have the 24-watt Quad Pro laser head and the safety interface board with keys. Some other lasers might have a driver. We have the mount for the safety interface board with its associated hardware. We have the laser head mount, the input cable, a focusing tool, the extension cable, and the power supply. There's going to be some other small things, paperwork and instructions as well in your package. Okay, now we're going to take our mount and our 4 M515 screws. I'm going to use our Allen key wrench. Ours is the one that fits as a number 3 metric, and we're going to place the screws into the 4 holes in the front of your spindle router holder. Just screw them in. Now you can adjust your laser up or down depending on your material and where your router behind it is sitting. I'm going to leave it just right here in the middle and tighten it up. On the 24-watt and other lasers, there's going to be keyed tabs on the back screws that hold into the line up and hold into the mount. These can be loosened or tightened depending on how you want it to sit on the mount. You can see if I loosen them all the way, you'll hit the keys and then it will suck it down. You can feel it suck down and it won't be super tight. So one of the things you can do is you can tighten these just slightly so that they'll fit into the keyhole, and then you push down, and not only is it going to be in the keyhole tightly, but it's also going to be, the magnets will be hitting it in. So it will be nice and secure. If you want to even get it more secure, you can take another additional screw, Allen key and go and tighten it into the back a little bit more. It is pretty sturdy here, and you can see by trying to get it off, it's really hard to get off as well. So we've taken the laser head controller, laser head cable here, and zip tied it to the side, and we're going to take the extension cables and start running it through this chain in the back. So the extension cable, let's grab our 15-foot extension cable here, and make sure that we have the female side of the cable, and I'm going to just attach it to the laser head cable just to make sure that it is the correct one before we start running our cables. And then we can now start opening up the cable chain. So I'm going to go grab a screwdriver to make it easier. There's going to be small holes right here on the cable chains that show a little picture of a screwdriver that you can then put in a little flathead screwdriver and push the cable chains open. Okay, so I've got my screwdriver. I'm going to put it in here. All you need to do is put it in the hole and press down, and they should open up. Okay, now that they're all opened, we can start putting the cable in. Alternatively, you could take the 2 screws off the top here and remove these motor cables on the side and then have the whole cable chain lay down flat. I chose not to do it this way. Okay, so now we can take and leave just a slight bit of slack here. So we put this through. I'm going to take this off again. I'm going to put it through this side. I'm going to pop this guy off just for a second. Oop, I accidentally closed that one. So I'm going to take this and put it through this one. I'll put this one back on. So I popped the whole chain off there for a second, and I put the end through. The end through, I'm going to give just enough slack so that it mates with the other side of the laser head here. And then I'm going to slowly start running it through the cable chain and closing them up. Okay, now all the cable is inside the cable chain on the back, and we can move on to the next step. Okay, so now we moved on to the other side of the machine, and we are going to put this cable through the side cable chain. So we're going to do the same thing we did before and open up all of these cable chains the entire way and take it off the mount. I'm going to do that now. Going to take the end off here by rotating it slightly so that we can fit it in. It's going to be a little bit harder to fit this cable in because there's already two cables in here, but it will work. Just kind of squeeze it in right to the side of it, of the other two, and it will work. Put this piece back in, make sure all your cable chains are snapped, and there you have it, all the way wired to the front of the machine, the extension cables. Okay, so now we're going to take our mounting backplate and our laser driver or safety interface board, and we're going to put the two screws through the back here, and then those will line up with this. We're going to put it in the sides here. Just line it up with the holes, and then we're going to have our two nuts go on the top. Now, if you don't have a back plate on your kit, it means that you have one of the earlier ones, and you can go to our website at jtechphotonics.com and then order just the plate to fit on the back of the Masso. So now we're going to put it onto the back of the Masso. So you don't necessarily need this back plate, but it is kind of convenient for putting the laser driver or the safety interface boards on the back of the Masso. So it's going to line up with these 4 holes onto the back of the Masso screen. So we're just going to put the screws in. I'm going to put one in so we can just match it up with the top one. And then put another one on the other side. Then just tighten all of them up. Okay, now the laser drive's on there. Let's go and get the cables plugged into it. All right, so now let's connect our cables. We have our power cable, which is going to be the bullet cable. It's going to go into the power, which is right next to this small white one, if I can see it. Feel it there. There it goes. And then we're going to have our extension cable that we put all the way through the cable chains. That goes into that white connector on the outside. It clicks in. And then lastly, we're going to have this small Molex MiniFit Junior cable that's around 3 feet. It's going to go into the black connector right next to that white one. There you go. Okay, so now we've turned the Masso controller on and we are going to set up the laser engraver on here. We're going to do it on here. If it's hard to see on the screen, then we're going to have it all on the website as well, and you can find it on the forum. But we're going to, first thing we're going to do is go into setup, and the password's not a password, so just press enter. And then we're going to go to output 11, and we're going to select on output 11, we're going to double click that, and we're going to select laser engraving PWM. Press select. That sets up that. And then we're going to go over to the left here and hit this, double click that multi-head, and we're going to click on the laser engraving cutting. And then make sure the PWM frequency says 4,000. That's the lowest you can go, which that's what the J Tech laser needs to be set at. And then normally we have the offset at 0. If you're going to be using your Lightburn as your 0 is going to be wherever your laser is at, then you leave that at 0. If you want to actually measure an offset and do tool offsets, then you can put a tool offset in there. So we're going to save that. And then one of the things we're going to try doing after this is turning the laser on, because that's all you really need to do on the Masso right now. So let's go try to turn the laser on. Okay, so when you're ready to get the laser driver and safety interface board turned on, you're going to put the key in, and then you're going to push it in a little bit and turn it to the right, and it should lock in place. You should not be able to take that key out. Then there's a little red reset button. If you have it plugged in and the power is turned on to the outlet, then you can press this red reset button and you will hear a little click, and that click is the interlock, power interlock engaging in here. If you don't hear a click, then check to make sure your power is connected correctly and you have an LED on your power brick. Make sure that this little switch in the front is pushed towards the LEDs. That means that way, towards the LEDs. And that is going to put it in input mode. If you have it the other way, it's going to turn the laser on full power, which you don't want. So we're going to then turn the power on here, the switch here, and you should see here the fans turn on the laser, and you should also see one green LED. That one green LED means that it is enabled and ready to go. If you push this to the other side, you will get 2 green LEDs, and you will have the laser fire in manual. So you can see that, and the laser will fire. All right, so now let's go to the MDI. And it shows right now we have a different tool in there. So we're going to go to the MDI and go just to get it so we can turn the laser on in low power. We're going to press the MDI button, and then we're going to change the tool. So the tool is actually going to be, let's see. Going to be T111 and then an M6, and then we're going to run that. And that's going to be our laser engraver. So now it's just switched to laser engraving because that's our tool 111 is our laser engraving tool. And that's just default in Masso. That's just part of Masso. So if we want to turn it on in low power, I'm going to turn the power switch on for the laser. So you can hear the laser going up. And then I'm going to do an M3 space. And I think I'm going to try doing, let's just try doing like an S15. I'm going to run this, and you can see the laser popped up here, and it should be in low power, so I can turn it off here. Let's just look and see if we can get both in the same picture here and show you it going in low power. So there's a little bit of glare here, but you can see if I put in that M3 S15 and I can press the laser button, and sure enough, the laser comes on, and then you turn it off. So you can jog around and use this to find your sender position. In some places, in some machines, your M value, your S value is going to be a little bit less or a little bit more. So let's try S10 and run that. And now you can see that the laser is even lower power. You can barely see it on there. So I have my goggles on, and I'm going to just turn this all the way up just to show you that you can do different power controls. So M3 S100. Let's run that. That's pretty bright. M3 S1000. Run that. Whoa, see, that's really bright. So that's 100% power. So S100 is 10%. You can see that's pretty bright. So M3 is 10, or S100 is 10%. S10 is 1%. So a low power would be M3 S10. So let's go back at MDI, M3 S10, and run that. And it's you can barely see it turned on. Okay, and that's that. To switch to back to another tool after you're all done with this and you're all done with carving, you can simply do switch to another tool. I think we have our V-bit stored in tool 11, so I'm just going to run that, and you'll notice it's back to our 90-degree V-bit, and we can now use our as a carving again. All right, so we're going to start by setting up Lightburn here. We like Lightburn as a software package because it has a lot of features for the laser. You can use others, but we're just going to show you how to set up Lightburn. We're going to go to Devices down here, and we're going to go to Create Manually, and we're going to create the one that says GRBL M3 and press Next. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to name it my Onefinity Elite. And then you can put whatever machine you have on it. Everybody has different dimensions. I believe we have the Foreman, not the Foreman, we have the Dreamin'. So I think ours is 32 by 32. Yours might be, if it's the Foreman, I think it's 48 by 48. But this is going to be your work area of the machine. So just put in what you believe your work area is. Look that up on your documentation. We're going to turn off the auto home because we're just going to be creating G-code for this, not actually being connected to the machine. And we're just going to keep it in the front left for our home. And so we can just click finish here, and we have a new machine. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to go down here and then put my Onefinity Elite as my machine, and you can see the grid changes to 32 by 32. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have a COM port. It's going to say that the console is just going to be, it's not going to have anything because we're not going to be connected to anything. so the move tab and all that stuff doesn't matter. The one thing we are going to need to set up is go up to this wrench and screwdriver up here and click on the G-code button. There's going to be start G-code you need to have for this. So for the start G-code, we're going to put in that tool, that is the laser tool. So it's going to be T111M06 or just M6 either way. And then you're going to put in an S0. That will make sure that the tool is off when it gets started. And also an M5, so that's also another thing to make sure it's off. So this is going to be in your header of your G-code. In the end G-code, you can put in, you can either leave it blank, which means that at the end of your G-code, it's still going to be set up for laser. If you wanted to, you could put in another tool change in there. Our tool from our video, like we have a V-bit in tool 11, and you can do M06, so that's going to change it back to carving, and then you can put an S0 and an M5 in there as well, because it's the end of the program. So you don't necessarily need to do the end G code, but this will just basically make it all ready to do carving again, and another you know, after you're done lasering. If you want to continue lasering, just leave this blank. Press OK, and that will put your G code in. So we can do a little test G code. If I do here, I say test, you can see that our origin is in the center. That's fine for me. You can do bottom left here if you want, or top right, or whatever. It's over here. It's going to basically base it on your current position. In the cut layers tab, I'm going to do a little fill. Let's say the line interval is 0.006. That's fine. I'll do a speed of like 140 at I don't know, 80% for the 24 watt with one pass, and press OK. You can go to the preview here, and you can see it's just going to go and do just a little test here. Now, if I wanted to run this on the Elite machine, I just go to press Save G code, and it pops up my how to save it, and I'm just going to put in here my test, and so I'm just going to call it test and press OK, and that file now is ready to go onto the machine. So we can take that and transfer it over to the machine, no matter how we, you know, whichever way we want to. So that's a quick and easy Lightburn tutorial right there on how to set up the machine and get the file ready for lasering. So there's the J Tech Photonics laser setup instructions for the Elite Series machines by Onefinity. If you have any questions, please contact the support team at J Tech Photonics at customer service at jtechphotonics.com, or look us up on the website and give us a call. We're happy to help. You can also find more instructions and accessories on the J Tech website. The instructions are under upgrade instructions, and look for the Onefinity. And if you want to look at our store, look on the left for the shop. Thanks.